Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News with 100 Thieves going into the group of death at the VCT kickoffs beginning in just a couple of days time up against Sentinels, Loud and Leviathan in their group. Asuna has said they're confident of getting the job done, but also said that in the Americas, the competition is simply way stronger than in the other regions. He believes that if 100T were in the other regions, they'd be easily good enough to qualify for the Masters events, if not be the best team in those entire regions, is what he's talking about actually correct. Very much interested your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, the Challengers Open Qualifier 2 began yesterday and concluded yesterday. Now we are down to the top 32. I don't believe there were any real major upsets here. There might have been a couple to note, but a few of the teams people were looking at the first time round that didn't quite qualify, Burgerville, of course, we thought they might end up matching up against Shopify Rebellion. Also, Maryville University, we'll discuss them here in just a couple of seconds. But lots of familiar names. But SR is going to be the interesting one because they had a reasonable chance, I think, before to qualify through. They didn't quite make it. And, now we have 1 and 2 qualification spots remaining, right? So only 2 qualifying spots here. 1 team through winners, 1 team through losers. And that pretty much begins today. And we'll see in a couple of days which teams end up coming out on top. So, yeah, as SR say, GG's on to the next one. They made it through the open qualifier. Now you get to the top 32. Things start to get somewhat serious. This was also confirmed by NRG, another one. Tannis HQ, who has worked with many different teams over the last few years, is going to be joining the NRG boys as, well, basically like a pro coach or, well, obviously pro, but you know what I mean, coach, assistant coach, whatever, joining the lineup with Chet. And also, they signed another load of analysts recently. So NRG, there's no doubt, are taking it very seriously this season. They have a head coach, they have like 2 analysts, and they have now like an assistant coach as well. And they have an incredibly star-studded roster on paper. So NRG are not messing around. Their group is more achievable than other groups. But the question will be, when they play the real challenging teams, in theory, how will they perform? Especially because scrims have maybe not been super stellar. We'll actually discuss them in just a couple of seconds here. This, though, was very interesting for Maryville Esports. I think these are the guys that are coached by MCE, right, formerly of Cloud9. JC Starney, a name that's been thrown around for some time, says, I was too sick to play with Maryville in the first qualifier. After some thought, I've decided to bench myself. I wish them the best of luck and make sure to give them your support. So, definitely a shame. Wishing JC Stanley the best going forward. I wonder what this means, right? Because if you're at Maryville, playing for their esports team, you get a scholarship, I imagine, to be playing as effectively a sports player, right? If you then, bench or leave or dropped or something, what does that mean for the scholarship? I don't know. Like, obviously wishing the best, and I imagine that maybe he's able to stay on the bench of the team and then still pursue his studies, and hopefully that's the case. But I thought it was interesting nonetheless. These are the dates for the kickoff of the VCT. Just wanted to share, at least in the America side, what those teams are officially going to be, because they have now been confirmed on the Instagram actually here, as we can see. I'll just zoom in maybe slightly more. This should probably just about do it. So as you guys can see, Sentinels, it's been confirmed officially by VALORANT Esports North America on Instagram what the roster's going to be. Now, we know what it's going to be anyway, but just to make it very, very clear, Sassy, Zelsis, John QT, Tenzin, Zekin, kickoff debut versus Loud, 17th of February. NRG, we know their roster full well. Of course, this is G2. Just if you guys are unfamiliar with the game of some of these teams, thought I'd go through them. Of course, these are the Cloud9 boys. They play their first game up against MIBR in Group A. 100T play Lev first game, and we're going to discuss Asuna and these boys in just a couple of seconds because they have, I would say, a lot to prove this season. EG, we don't know who they play quite yet because they'll play the winner of Crew and G2 because they got a bye, and maybe a bye that you could argue they did or did not deserve. Couple of Scrimbux as well for you guys. These were Scrimbux as of yesterday that Madness Media posted around. G2 versus 100T, 10-7, NRG 9-9. EG and Liv up on some unknown teams. 100T, NRG down 7-6. Interesting that there was no Sentinels here, just because, when you're seeing 100T, NRG, these other teams doing a fair bit of practice on Tower Extreme, you might expect to see something from Sen. I'm sure they are practicing, right? And they haven't just given up, because sometimes that's been leveled at them as an accusation previously. But here were some more Scrimbux from the day previously. Again, nothing really here from Sentinels, but actually, according to this one, 100T are up 10-1 against NRG. So we did say yesterday, then NRG's practice hasn't exactly been particularly stellar, and maybe 100T are looking pretty damn good. Those are some Zekken's stream, even EG were down 0-4 to QOR, and then a few days before that on the 9th of February, we then had these results, and to be fair, in this one, NRG up 9-1 against Amatis. Maybe it's kind of mixed, but generally speaking, 100T, they've been looking good in some of the Scrimbux we've seen over the last few days against most of the teams that they have played. How will that translate, however, to playing against what is going to be the most challenging group in the world in the VCT? Sen, Loud, Lev, and 100T. It's pretty absurd. So Pedro, another interview. I'm pretty sure he's done all his round of interviews now. So again, everything will be linked in the description box below. 14 minutes here with Asuna. But a couple of very fascinating answers. He was also asked the question later on, where do you think you are in the Americas? Are you the best team type thing? And he's like, yeah, we're the best team. He's very much looking forward to playing Sen, Loud, Lev, and NRG are the 4 teams that he mentions, but also discussing the competition in the various regions, because Asuna said it right at the end of the episode, actually, right at the end of the interview, that as far as he's concerned, once you get to the international event, it's easy. Once you qualify for the internationals, then you really back yourself, at least he backed himself and his team, to beat teams from other regions. The difficulty, as far as Asuna believes, is actually qualifying in the first place, because the Americas, in his perspective, is so competitive and so stacked that getting top 2 is such a massive challenge in the first place.
We did a lot of things in practice, and we improved a lot throughout the year, and I just thought, things just didn't go our way in a lot of times. And I felt like the year was really overall unlucky, where we, you could say we choked. And that's about it, really. I didn't think that we played bad or anything. We had a lot of ideas. I thought we were really good. But when it came down to it, the last game we just fumbled it, which gave EG the chance to, go ahead and prove their worth. But I think Americas is a really tough league where, it's the best league in the world. And any team that comes out of Americas is always going to, just dominate internationally. And EG happened to be that team where even though everyone's like clowning them before the season started, during the season, everything, they get to the international stage, they get top 2, they win the champs. I think it's very understated how dominant Americas is as a region, where if you put us in any other region, we would have been just fine. We would have been the best team, so that's my take. And overall, I think the year, maybe in some matches we could have been more confident, definitely. But overall, if you watch back like some of our Furia, Lev games, Crew, I think we showed a lot of resilience, and we were confident at times. So it's just tough to pinpoint when, one day it's one thing and another day it's another thing. And also, I don't know what narratives there were about the team. Like, you just brought up Stellar's IGLing, but I wouldn't put that as like the reason we lost. I thought Beaton did a really good job. And overall, I was with him for like over a year, and, I enjoyed every moment. Made so many memories. So I'm not gonna just be here. Yeah.
Where do you currently see 100 Thieves right now, and stuff like that?
I mean, there's only one right answer, and we're the best. So I'll just say that. I think there's like 4 in my head. Probably, yeah. Can I name 4, or would you want 1?
Give me all 4. Come on, dude, I gotta know all of it.
Lev, Loud, Sen, and then NRG.
So what do you guys think about Asuna's perspective here, right? I think it was a pretty hot take, all things considered. I don't think he's wrong, necessarily. I definitely think the Americas is the best region. The numbers back that up as well over the last couple of years in terms of, which region has won more against other regions. Definitely the Americas is the strongest on paper. But, and also it's probably right that if you go to EMEA, you have Fnatic, and then you have... it's question marks as to where the rest of that region lies. This year on paper, you've got teams like Na'Vi, you've got teams like Liquid theoretically stepping things up, so I think there is going to be some competition, but really you look at EMEA, it's Fnatic and the rest, and you look at, the Pacific, and you're looking pretty much at PaperX, and then the rest. I mean, DRX have made some deep runs in tournaments, but they've not made it quite as far as they might have liked to. Top 6 is often DRX will deliver, which is pretty respectable. So, I'm not sure that I'd go as far to say, as Asuna seems to think, that, if you go to another region, you're basically going to be the best team and dominate it. I don't think it's that clear, but I do think there is probably part of what Asuna is saying that's true, that once you qualify for the international events and you have to play international teams, you really feel confident you're going to be able to, make a run against them. But we'll see if this comes back to bite 100T or Asuna at some point, right? I mean, if they were to qualify internationally and then you know, they played a team that maybe they thought they could beat and it wasn't the case. I guess we'll see. But his point on the fact that Evil Geniuses became the best team in the Americas, they turn up internationally and they win that as well, was apparently not a surprise to him at all, because, you know, his belief is that if you're the best team in the Americas, you're basically the best team in the world. At least it seems kind of what he's saying. Now, of course, Fnatic might beg to differ on that one, and we'll see what happens when the season goes on. But I also think there's an element of, because the Americas is more, I wouldn't even say top heavy, I think it's just more stacked in terms of talent, really, from top to bottom. Those teams get more practice against each other, they can get better. So I definitely feel like Asuna has a point that getting top 2 and qualifying for Masters Madrid is just such a massive challenge in the Americas, given the strength of the teams that are around them. Would it be true that if 100T were magically transported to other regions, they'd become the best team? I don't really think so, right? I don't think they're as good as Fnatic. I don't think they're as good as Paper X. Are they as good as Edward Gaming in China? I guess that's a question. So I guess we'll see what Fnatic and potentially others might cook up as a response to this in due course, if they got the possibility to, because let's be honest here, 100T are far from favourites to qualify for Masters Madrid or get top 2 or even really qualify for any of these internationals, because it's tough to achieve that and there are loads of very talented teams in the Americas. So we'll see if 100T can deliver on what Asuna believes they can, and well, I'm definitely hoping now for some sort of 100T versus, let's say, second or third best international team, to see how that might potentially go in another region. So very much intrigued your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.